Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Learn with Lo. Super excited to be back with you guys today. I know we had a week off last week with the holiday, and that means we are in a whole new month and a whole new series that really builds on a lot of the different conversations we've been having here. So if you're new here at Learn with Lo, you can bet that you have joined in on a session here where we're going to dive into a deep understanding of gut health, a deep understanding of the most common symptom that I tend to see in my own private practice, which is bloating. Bloating is one of those symptoms that tends to get a lot of, I don't want to say just like dismissal, but in a lot of more of our conventional medicine spheres, you kind of hear, oh, bloating, and it tends to just kind of get dismissed, get ignored, get pushed off as something that's like, oh, that's just a nuisance, right? It's like, it's a nuisance to feel bloated, but actually bloating can be a pretty serious sign and symptom, a red flag that we don't want to just overlook, because there can be some very key clinical clues, not to mention somebody's lived experience living with chronic bloating. If that has ever been you know that this is more than just a nuisance. This is something that can really affect individuals' self-confidence. It can impact individuals' overall stress, especially around food and food scenarios, when you're not sure of like, is that going to make me bloated? Is that going to contribute to my symptoms? It can just, like I said, kind of also compromise our relationship with food a lot. I can't tell you how many individuals I have seen that have struggled with chronic bloating and struggled with chronic gut issues, and it almost breeds some disordered eating habits as well too. So the fact that from a maybe more of like a conventional gastroenterology, we tend to dismiss a bloating as more of just kind of a nuisance symptom, bloating is definitely one of the red flags that I look at to know that we probably need to look deeper, because this is something that's not just impacting their overall quality of life, but is also a direct reflection of what's going on in the gut. And we know, if you've been here before, you know what goes on in the gut does not stay in the gut. This is not Vegas, right? Things are going to be a systemic reaction across the board. Our gut health impacts our thyroid function. It impacts our overall hormone balance. For women, it's going to impact our menstrual cycles. It impacts our blood sugar, our weight, and body composition. So don't think that the gut and a little bit of bloating is something that just gets pushed to the side. But even thinking about bloating, I would say that number one, the first thing that we tend to go to kind of like self-diagnose, self-triage a bloating situation is usually looking at food. Food being kind of the culprit, the food being the thing to blame. And so in some of those more desperate situations, we do tend to use some elimination diets as the kind of first line of defense of kind of blaming food as a big part of our symptoms, which can then be a little bit of a slippery slope. So if you have either been told to or even like kind of self-diagnosed and self-treated, and you notice that you've struggled with chronic bloating, so maybe you've been told or self-diagnosed yourself with like, you need to cut out gluten, and then that didn't make a huge difference. So then you were told or self-researched, I need to cut out dairy. And pretty soon you're kind of like slowly eliminating all of the foods in your entire kitchen and nervous to even eat outside the home, or nervous to eat at all because maybe you took some sort of food sensitivity test, right? That gluten elimination, that dairy elimination, it led you to source even like an at-home food sensitivity test, and you got it back and it was lit up like a Christmas tree, and it said to avoid blueberries and strawberries and eggs and pork and avocado and brewer's yeast. Like, these things are a very, very slippery slope, okay? I'm letting you know right now that the whole concept of elimination diets and food sensitivity testing is an area that I think some people have a little bit of a misconstrued understanding of them. Elimination diets in my world are something that are used as a diagnostic tool, and they're also used from a symptom management perspective, which means elimination diets kind of go into the bucket of a Band-Aid. Okay, it's not a bad thing. Sometimes people think like you hear about a Band-Aid solution, or kind of the mindset of conventional medicine of like a pill for every ill, and we think it's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, but I don't want individuals to think that if you've been prescribed or told or self-researched that you need to go on an elimination diet, that is a root cause solution. It's not. It's not a root cause solution. So if you've eliminated gluten, you've eliminated dairy, your bloating is still as bad as ever, you're curious about taking a food sensitivity test, you're trying to figure out like, what food is it? what food is making me bloated. I'm here to tell you, you're doing it wrong. That's okay. You're asking the wrong questions, okay? Because spoiler alert, food was probably never the problem here, okay? The state of your gut, though, that is the problem. That is what is contributing to the bloating. And this is going to be a pattern that's going to be overlooked by your conventional gastroenterologist who just kind of slaps this like IBS label on you and sends you with some prescription medications and a handout for a low FODMAP diet and all the foods that you need to eliminate and just sends you on your way, right? Honestly, even outside of like conventional gastroenterology, let's be real, the functional wellness world, they are no better about this concept either. They are perpetuating the idea that an elimination diet is a root cause fix or a cure for your gut issues. And I'm here to tell you that that's not true. Okay. Elimination diets, do I use them in practice? Yes, absolutely. I use them in practice. Do I help teach other providers and other practitioners in my mentorship program how to use elimination diets correctly? Yes, these are all things that we need to do because to me, elimination diets are kind of a little bit of an art form and we want to use them very discerning because I don't want individuals to think that they need to, one, eliminate these foods forever. It's not the goal, or that there needs to be some sort of like fear around foods as a contributor to bloating. Okay. So just setting the stage for our conversation today, understand that the food is not to blame for your bloating. It's the state of your gut that is actually being exposed to said foods. And so we're asking the wrong question if we're thinking about like, what foods do I need to eliminate? What food sensitivity tests do I need to take? Probably barking up the wrong tree. Okay. Let me tell you why. And let's talk about a little bit better thought process and a better long-term sustainable solution for your chronic bloating. So the gut health lie that we've kind of all been told for decades. And like I said, the wellness kind of functional medicine world is the worst about this is like, cut out this food and heal your gut, right? If you're bloated, eliminate gluten. If you're still bloated, eliminate dairy. If you're still bloated, it must be nightshades. It must be FODMAPs. Maybe it's oxalates or it's histamines, right? It's like, this is the crazy world that we're living in right now. And before you know it, people are out there. I see people come into my clinic every day who are eating chicken and white rice and some sort of like sad rotation of 5 safe foods, and they still feel bloated, right? And it makes them more anxious, more inflamed, more disconnected from their body than ever. So if this sounds familiar to you, let's kind of call a spade. That elimination diets have become the new form of gaslighting in gut health. Okay, gut health, I won't lie, it's very trendy right now. And again, I think we're getting the ball wrong. We're asking all the wrong questions when it comes to why our gut health is the way that it is. And elimination diets are kind of getting marketed to us as this cure-all that they're actually not. And in the wrong context, they can actually do more harm than good, okay? A lot of times too, because these elimination diets kind of show up as a little bit of a gaslighting strategy, it happens because individuals who aren't getting relief from these elimination diets, they're getting kind of told like, oh, you must be doing it wrong, or you're not eating clean enough, or you're not eating strict enough, or you're just not compliant enough, or maybe there's some sort of cross-contamination that you don't know about. And it's just keeping that individual trapped in more of the survival mode. And I'm here to say, I'm like, what if your bloat isn't about the food? Or what if it's not just about the food? Because like I said, let's get one thing straight. Food elimination is a symptom management tool. It is not a root cause solution. So someone that comes in and says like, oh yeah, I'm bloated, or I got told I had IBS, so I'm on a low FODMAP diet. And I'm like, that's not a treatment for IBS, right? Low FODMAP is a symptom management tool because right now your gut is in such a dysbiotic state that when you try to eat foods that are high in FODMAP, your gut does not react well. This is not the fault of the foods, right? This is a result of the state of your gut in which you're feeding said foods, right? So that's where I just have to be that person that's shouting the horn over here and saying, food elimination is a symptom management tool. It is a temporary Band-Aid solution. It's a temporary bridge, but the goal is not to eliminate said foods forever. The goal is to build immune resilience back up, restore the state of the gut so that you're not having to be so restrictive, right? It can reduce symptoms, yes, but it doesn't resolve the actual dysfunction that's underneath the symptoms. So eliminating gluten or eliminating dairy, it might take some of the fire off of the surface, but it does nothing to repair the overall terrain that was flammable to begin with. So now that we're all on the same page about that, I know I kind of like, whoa, maybe ruffle some feathers when I talk about like an elimination diet isn't a root cause strategy. It's like, no, it's not. It is a symptom management tool. And it can be diagnostic for me. It can give me some clues, but it's no way part of like, that's not the treatment. That's not the treatment strategy. Okay. So why does elimination diets not work solely for chronic bloating? Let's bring in some of the science. Okay. Let's talk your GI tract for a second. So the digestive tract, all the way from your mouth to your poop chute, all the way from your mouth to your anus, is an intelligent living ecosystem, right? So we have bacteria and viral particles. We even have parasites. We have good guys. We have bad guys. This is a continuous tube all the way from our mouth to our colon that processes food, absorbs food, and it's also this dynamic responding terrain that controls our things like digestive enzymes, our immune system, things like brush border enzymes, the mucosal lining in the gut, and overall immune surveillance cells. This is a microbiome that contains trillions of bacteria, and we are actually more by DNA fragments, we are more DNA from bacteria than we are human cells. Wild, right? So it's like, oh, so if we're going to sit here and pretend that like the ecosystem of the gut doesn't 100% run the show, we're going to be missing the mark here, okay? Because we are actually way more DNA from bacteria than we are our own human tissue. So we need to utilize that to its advantage, because when nourished and when used appropriately, that gut microbiome, it is there to protect. It is there to fight on our behalf. It is there to lower inflammation. It is there to just keep overall metabolic equilibrium in the body. And if you, like I said, struggle with chronic gut issues, you know what I'm talking about when you say that like the gut health isn't just like some uncomfortable bloating. This is something that impacts all the way from like the like autoimmunity, allergies, skin, hormone health, thyroid health. It's like, you name it, it's probably going to trace back to like what's going on in the gut. So when someone says to me like, I get bloated when I eat blank, right? It's easy to kind of point the finger at the food. I totally get it. But the real question is why is your gut reacting to that food in the first place? Especially when it starts to get to the place where these are like healthful foods, right? It's like, I had a gal this morning. She's like, oh, broccoli does me dirty. She's like, I get so bloated when I eat broccoli. And I'm like, that's interesting. Instead of being like, yeah, let's not eat broccoli, and let's also wipe out all of the cruciferous vegetable family with your Brussels sprouts and your cauliflower and your kale. Let's just, you're reacting right now to all cruciferous vegetables. Let's just pull them out. It's like, no, my question was like, that's interesting. Broccoli is a high sulfur food. It's also part of this cruciferous vegetable family. So I wonder if there aren't some high sulfur rich bacteria in the gut that are causing you to have this reaction to broccoli. Let's do some deeper digging, because I'd love to be able to reintroduce broccoli into the rotation for all of its benefits that it provides us, right? She's like, I would love that, right? So it's not about like, you can see the two different schools of thought there of like, oh, eliminating the foods versus using that as a clue for me of like what's going on in the gut. Like, let's dig there and let's answer that question instead of just continuously pull things out. Because I guarantee that if today she's kind of, like I said, having trouble with broccoli, and I just tell her to eliminate more foods and I don't fix the underlying problem, it's going to go from broccoli, and then it will go to eggs, and then it will go to dairy, and then it will go to gluten. And pretty soon she's got all of these like food sensitivities. I'm like, you don't have all of these food sensitivities. You have a dysfunctional gut. that's what you have, right? That's displaying as all of these food sensitivities. So you can pull all of these foods out until the cows come home and it's not going to do anything, right? Like that's not the treatment. Pulling all these foods out is not the treatment, okay? I'll continuously give more and more examples, but the reactions to the food are not the root cause. They are the downstream symptom of a dysregulated and a dysfunctional gut terrain as a whole. That could mean we have low stomach acid, which impairs protein digestion. It triggers overgrowth of some of these bad guys in the small intestine, which then you don't tolerate like those FODMAP foods anymore. Maybe it's because you have insufficient bile flow. So you're not breaking down fats really well. And that adds to more of this microbial imbalance because bile also helps kill off the bad guys in the gut. So if you don't have enough stomach acid, you don't have enough bile, probably going to feel like you have a lot of food sensitivities or food reactions that are causing you to feel bloated. It's not the food. It's the digestive capacity that you lack that's making these foods feel like the problem, right? Maybe you have a compromised overall mucosal gut lining, which then makes our immune system like hyperactive. So then you have a certain food, even if, like I said, it's a pretty innocent food for individuals that have immune mediated issues, they eat like strawberries, right? And they have this huge histamine reaction to a strawberry. I'm like, this has nothing to do with the strawberry, and this has everything to do with the overall state of your gut and the immune system. Or maybe we have a disrupted microbiome and we lack the diversity of good guys to bad guys. And now all of a sudden we're producing all of these gas and all of this bloat. It's like, do you see what I mean? Like this is so much deeper than just like, what food do I eliminate? What food sensitivity do I test? Because this is where like the conventional and more of even like your wellness and functional areas, they are getting it all wrong, right? They're seeing food reactions and trying to like erase a symptom, but never actually restore the terrain in the first place. And so it's like having a flooded basement and spending all of your energy like mopping up the floor without noticing like the pipe behind the wall that's like burst and just rushing water into the basement. And you're sitting there trying to like mop things up. It's like, what? Fix the pipe, right? Like, why are you spending all your energy continuously mopping when like the pipe is obviously the issue here, right? That's what elimination diets do. They like mop and they manage, but they never actually fix the leak in the first place, right? So what a lot of like the gut gurus aren't telling you, even if it's like I said, your gastroenterologist, is that now that we've kind of like zoomed in and recognized that this is a terrain issue, on the actual physiology that kind of makes or breaks your digestive health, let's kind of zoom back out for a second, because this is where the conversation gets even more real, is that the gut being an ecosystem, we are its host, right? We are its environment. So no amount of food elimination is going to correct this issue if this is like a broader environment that the gut lives in, right? So not only are we talking about like the gut itself, but I'm also the type of practitioner that's talking about the environment that the gut lives in, the pace that you live your life, the stress that you carry, the fears that you've internalized around food. Like if the entire terrain that houses the gut is still in chaos, like that's going to be part of the treatment as well too. So going back to, like I said, some of this physiology, it's like low stomach acid, that can be related to high stress. Poor bile flow, that can also be related to stress or restrictive dieting. Maybe we have like slow bowel motility, or we have constipation. That's because that is controlled by cortisol and adrenaline and your sympathetic nervous system, right? So you see kind of the connections here between, when I think about bloating, I'm not just going to cover up with a Band-Aid and like all these elimination diets. It's like, we're going to talk about the terrain in and of itself. We're going to talk about the terrain in which the gut actually resides and lives in, because you could eat this like most perfect, low inflammatory, clean, organic diet, and your body will not process it correctly if the gut terrain is the issue. Okay, so this isn't about the food. That's why, like I said, I can't say this loudly enough or enough times. It's like, that's why like the hundreds of dollars you spent in probiotics and prebiotics like didn't do anything, or why your elimination diet gave you like temporary relief, but then you have rebound situation and it turned from like one food sensitivity to like 15 food sensitivities, right? And even just allowing me to pause for a second and share, I've been here. I've been in this exact situation, right? In my own journeys that like motivated and inspired me to do what I do today. I've been there, right? It started with gluten. I felt a little better without the gluten. So then I took out dairy, and pretty soon I wasn't doing gluten. I wasn't doing dairy. And then I wasn't doing eggs. Right? I was like, I think eggs are doing me dirty. So taking out eggs, right? And then it's like, you take out the next thing, and it's like, and pretty soon I was reacting to almonds and almond butter and almond anything. And so it's like, took out almonds. And it's like, this was very early on in my own healing journey. And at some point I was like, wait a second. This isn't about the food. I was still having skin issues. I was still having gut issues, still having hormone issues. And it's like, cut out gluten, cut out dairy, cut out eggs, cut out almonds. Like, where does it stop? Right? Where does it stop? And I'm not necessarily like noticing that this is really giving me a huge return on investment here, right? That's, like I said, I think back to those like late teens when I was like just in college and like trying to figure this out before I had all the education and the training and experience that I do now. It's like looking back at that girl, that young woman, it's like, it wasn't about the food. It was never about the food. It was about the state of my gut, the state of the terrain, the state of my nervous system at that point in time. And if I could go back and now her know what she knows, and like, I eat eggs today, I eat almonds today without any issue. It's like knowing that I've been able to like heal from my own food reactions and realize like it was never about the food. It was about the state of the gut that it was going into in the first place, right? So I digressed from that, but just knowing that if you are also experiencing chronic gut issues, whether it's bloating, gas, constipation, but specifically today talking about bloating because I know that it's such a common symptom, and especially for females, it's a common symptom that really can wreck our quality of life. And you think about, transitioning into summer mode and wanting to wear shorts and be out in swimsuits. It's like that is something that that bloating symptom is enough for most individuals to say no to social invites, to say no to social engagements, to say no to going out on the boat with friends. It's like I feel bloated and I just don't feel comfortable like putting on shorts or putting on a swimsuit. So they'll stay home, right? Or they don't know exactly what food they're going to have access to. So they stay home, right? And it's like knowing that this is something that directly impacts like more than just like, oh, you're a little bloated. Like, no, this is something that is a big impactor for a lot of people. So I want to be that voice that's telling you like there's more out there than just food eliminations. And if you've been sold that food eliminations are somehow curing your bloating or chronic gut issues, you've kind of been sold a lie. Okay, it's a symptom management tool. It can be a diagnostic tool, but it's not the treatment, right? The treatment is addressing the state of the gut in the first place, right? So if you, like I said, if you feel bloated, you feel depleted, you feel like you've tried everything, you are not broken, okay? You do not need to cut out any more foods. Stop the madness. You just need a whole different lens to look at the situation, right? And the problem is you've never really had access to seeing the full picture. And to me, that's a problem. And this is why I've developed the lowdown methods the way that I have, and why I also developed my Renew Your Gut program. So if this is you, know that my Renew Your Gut program is there. It exists for you. And essentially what I have done with my Renew Your Gut program is we're going to take a look at the whole lens. We're actually going to do dedicated gut testing so that we can have some of those answers to those questions. Is this low stomach acid? Is this dysbiosis? Do we have some immune system issues? Do we have poor bile flow? What's going on with the state of the good guys to the bad guys? Like being able to really take that data that someone hasn't been able to give you before. And it's like, oh, you just have IBS, like here's low FODMAP. Or have you tried to cut out gluten and dairy? It's like, that's not what this is about. We want to use some more advanced functional stool testing to really directly look at the gut terrain, not just like manage your symptoms, okay? So if this sounds like something, like I said, that you're interested in, you can always click the link in my bio, takes you to my website, find some more information about my Renew Your Gut program there, and you can click to register. Once registration comes through, you'll get your GI map kit sent to your house, and we'll be off to the races, right? So it's a really streamlined program that allows you to get lots of data, lots of custom support through that process of really answering the question of like, why the heck am I chronically bloated, and why has only everyone given me a crap ton of supplements or more eliminations and not really addressed the true issue at hand. So that's what I love. That's what I do. I've been in your shoes before. Stop the madness. It's not about the food. It's about the state of your gut. Okay. So hopefully that was helpful for you. And like I said, come back next week. We'll have more information. I see some good questions coming in, especially a question about a little off topic stuff, at least today. For instance, the cyst on the ovaries, if that's related to high cortisol levels and major bloating issues. Yes, that's a good point. A little bit of a diversion there. But yes, there's definitely some situations where bloating can be part of even like hormonal fluctuations and hormonal changes. Of course, we want to kind of rule out any of the like big and scary stuff of like ovarian cysts and things like that. Of course, can that grow to extension? Of course it can. But at least for today's purposes, I was, like I said, kind of thinking about more of the microbiome influences. But obviously, like I said, there's a total body perspective here too. So fun times being a female, right? Come back for more next week. And if you guys have any follow-up questions, drop them in the comments below. And I'll be excited to see you guys in my Renew Your Gut program.